Hello everyone, my name is Bethany and this is my channel Theni's Thoughts. Today I decided that I am going to start a reading vlog because I thought it'd be really interesting to do it with Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. This is Bethany from the future. As I was editing this vlog, I realized that I wanted to address, I talk about it as more of the vlog continues of the problematic themes and issues that come up, but I decided I also wanted to kind of mention in the beginning the problematic issues with Twilight, one of them being how it addresses and portrays the Quileute people. That is a tribe that Jacob is from and based on in the books. So I'm going to link a really great charity that is for the Quileute people that I will include below that I've already donated to myself. There's also been talk that apparently Stephanie Meyer did not want any black people in her movie unless they were a villain. That is also problematic in itself as well. Just to say that it's not, none of those things are okay or makes the book okay for that reason. But I just wanted to address it and make it known that I am well aware and there is issues and problematic themes in the book. And I hope I kind of discuss those more as this vlog continues and you can see my opinion on that. And without further ado, back to past Bethany. Yeah, I decided it might be fun to just do a reading vlog of my reactions to it as I reread it. It's been a hot minute since I read this. It's been easily 10 years, 12 years, something like that. Unlike other booktubers who are much younger than I am, I read it when I was in college. Like, it wasn't like my first YA book, it wasn't my first romance book, it wasn't my first vampire book, lots of things. So I have very different memories of it than some people might. I know Stephanie Meyer is criticized for her not having good writing, which I say to you, stop it. There's a reason it's popular. As I talked about in, I want to say I talked about in my June TBR because I was planning to read it for June. It's July. So now is the time because I really, really want to read it before Midnight Sun comes out, which I believe comes out in August. A well-told story. I think there's something really compelling about it. I think there's something about one of the things that I think it resonates, one of the reasons I think it resonates with people is everyone is Bella. Everyone, every girl or guy can see themselves as Bella and as something not extraordinary who becomes sort of extraordinary. There's something compelling about that. So I think it's well told, despite the fact that maybe the writing's not great. It doesn't have to be great to be a well told story. I'm only planning on rereading the first book. I have no desire to really reread the rest of the series. I mean, I didn't dislike the rest of the series. I don't know. The first book was the best one out of the four, in my opinion. Although I was looking back and apparently I rated the fourth book 4 stars, which I was very surprised by because I don't remember hardly anything that happens in the fourth book. But anyway, so that'll be fun to kind of, I don't know, vlog my live reactions to Twilight, and thought it might be interesting or not. We'll find out. Something else I talked about in my June TBR when I was discussing vampires was this. I don't like vampire romances. There, I said it. I don't like it. Mostly because, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I have not read a huge range of vampire romances in a while, but predominantly because the girl always ends up becoming the vampire, which is nonsense. I do never want to become a vampire, even if I meet one and fall in love with them. Sorry, no can do. I don't want to be cold. I don't want to be sucking on blood all my life, and immortality just sounds awful. There's nothing desirable about becoming a vampire whatsoever. And as I went through my very brief vampire stage in my reading life in my early teens, I immediately realized that I would never become a vampire and this was terrible. So, and that every girl usually ends up becoming one, and I just could not agree with that choice. So I stopped reading a lot of them. And maybe there's exceptions. Again, if there's exceptions, please let me know. If the vampire becomes a human, I'd totally read that book. Anyway, I digress. And I mean, Stephanie Meyer kind of made her own thing. Or not really. They're vampires, sort of. That's how I kind of consider it in my head. Because they sparkle and all sorts of weird rules that she came up with on her own. So I'm really excited to at least, I don't know, reminisce, have a good time. We'll find out. It'll be an adventure. Hello. So I've only read about 2 chapters, about like just starting the third one. I kind of skimmed the third ahead on the third one. There's a line that literally just made me laugh. It's her first day of school. She's just trying to psych herself out to get out of her car to get into the school. And she says, I can do this. I lied to myself feebly. No one was going to bite me. Because they're vampires. I'm sorry, I was really entertained by that line. I'm not gonna lie, while reading this, I'm definitely envisioning the first movie, which I've seen probably only twice, but contrary to a lot of popular opinion, I actually loved the first movie and didn't really like any of the others. I don't even think I ever saw the last one, to tell you the truth. So I'm kind of envisioning the movie a little bit, only with the bad acting, but actually like the good acting. But I'm not envisioning Kristen Stewart because she was terrible as Bella. But kind of, I think Robert Pattinson was really good as Edward, and yeah, so I'm definitely feeling the vibes from the movie in the first 2 chapters for sure. And the third chapter we're getting to is when he stops the car from running her over. So I didn't remember that it built up that quickly. I thought there was a little bit more of her being humdrum and forks, but I guess not. Things start kind of clipping away pretty quickly. So I'm not gonna read if I'm gonna read that much more tonight. Probably gonna read more tomorrow. Hi everyone. It's Sunday, but I haven't been doing a lot of reading. So it's just been the progress has been kind of slow because I've been reading like 3 other books at the same time. But I'm 130 pages in. I'm about right there. Just finished chapter 6. I'm on chapter 7. And Jacob just got introduced, which I love. He's my favorite, actually. I mean, he's like weirdly controlling in the later books, but he's my favorite. I think the reason I'm so excited, I've always liked Midnight Sun, is I think it's just a little bit more interesting from Edward's perspective, and we're finally going to get that, so that's something very exciting. There's a whole scene where, a totally scene that I forgot, where they're just talking at lunch, and he's like, basically, just, I've given up staying away from you. Which, in one aspect, is kind of sweet. Another aspect is like, you can control yourself. You've been around for 100 years. I keep imagining Robert Pattinson reading it, I'm not going to lie, but Bella is her own entity. I think she's more sarcastic. I think she's funnier. I think she's more self-aware than I remember her being, and I think I like that about her. I think that's what draws Edward in, too. I mean, just think. He hears teen thoughts in high school all day long, and they're predictable and hormonal, and here's this girl who he can hear her thoughts, so who knows what she's thinking, and she's not thinking the typical things that he thinks she is. And so I can understand why he's intrigued by her in that regard. And so then they're going to do the trip to Seattle, which I think is, if I remember correctly, the trip to Seattle is when more things come to light. Again, I remember really liking the first movie, and I think because I feel like it felt like it followed the book pretty closely. And so far, it does. There's a lot of moments that it does. I think it's funny that she kind of does address the fact that, like, all these men are really into me, and I've never been into me before when I was in Arizona. So maybe because I'm a novelty, or, you know, she hasn't, like, changed. She's not, like, she doesn't identify as, like, super attractive, which is true. I think, like, in a small town, a new girl comes from, like, a small town where they've, like, known the same girls for forever, and now this new girl comes, and she's, like, so much more mysterious and appealing. I can kind of see that being the case with, like, all these guys fawning over her. It's not necessarily for her, or that she's actually, like, insanely attractive. I really think it's just because she's a new girl going to a small town. Coming from someone who lived in a small town, this is completely accurate. I'm liking it so far. I do like the first book. I think the series gets worse as it goes along, but I'm remembering why I liked the series so much, though. Like, the voices just feel, Bella and Edward just feel really authentic for, like, a vampire teenager, I guess. Bella and Edward have very clear voices, and I think that's why I can appreciate them so far. There was a line, I'm trying to find it. There was a line that he said that I was like, oh damn, that was kind of a hot line. Yeah, where he says, I'm tired of trying to stay away from you, Bella. It's a good line. I think that's why Midnight Sun's kind of intriguing. Like, I want to know what brought him to that point. Yeah, that's it for me today. obviously I read yesterday, which was Monday the 13th. Today is Tuesday the 14th. But then I didn't talk, which I had planned to do, and then I just got sidetracked with other things going on, so I didn't come back. But I wanted to just kind of explain why I didn't vlog over the weekend and why I was a little bit crazier than anticipated. So my husband and I got a new bed on Friday morning, and since then it's been trying to kind of like put the bedroom back in order, and then also doing taxes over the weekend because I hate doing taxes so much that I waited till the absolute last minute because that's me. So that kind of took up a lot of my energy and time over the weekend. So that's why I didn't do more reading. Yeah, I'm at 200 pages of Twilight though. And I just wanted to say, I forgot that it's actually not terrible. Like, I've stayed away from a lot of people's vlogs that people are doing about Twilight right now because I just wanted to reread it just to refresh myself and what I remember of it. I know that there's problematic parts of the book, absolutely, especially with the native representation, like times 100. And I know one of the other things that people have mentioned on is Edward and Bella's relationship being very abusive, which I definitely think that comes into play later in. But so far, like, a lot of his actions are really geared towards keeping her alive, how much he respects her life and being alive, and how her life is precious, and he keeps trying to save that over and over again. You know, how being near her because of how much he, like, yearns for her blood is something he's always conscious of, at least from reading and what I can gather from his perspective from reading Twilight. So I don't think that's as problematic as people make it out to be. I don't know. I think that, he sees himself as this monster. And definitely, like, thinking about that makes me definitely give like, Christian overtone vibes, which I think is in it plenty, especially by the whole, like, refusing to marry her, refusing to have sex with her until marriage later in the books. So I still think that's something admirable in him, at least. For those who don't know, Stephenie Meyer has a lot of Christian overtones in the book. Now that and that's kind of like, oh, I'm kind of noticing that a little bit more in this. But I also I really like Bella. I always thought Bella got a lot of hate back when the books were popular. And rereading this, I'm remembering, oh yeah, this is why I really liked Bella. She's classic lit nerd. She's clumsy. She's an overthinker. The whole scene where she goes to the forest and she's like trying to wrap her mind around him being a vampire. Definitely something, as an overthinker, definitely something that I've done before. Again, I think there's something really relatable about Bella. But how she just falls in love with him, like, just because of how gorgeous he is within a day. I mean, I think that's pretty teenager-y type of behavior. And how fascinated he is by her just because he can't read her mind. And she doesn't think like other people. Or, like, I think because she's unpredictable is what makes her so appealing to him. Literally, he's in a high school all day long, hearing the thoughts of these teenagers that all sound the same. And there's a girl that comes around whose thoughts he can't hear, who doesn't think like he typically expects. And I think there's something refreshing in that. I think he's intrigued by that, and that makes sense to me. Although I forgot how soon she realized he was a vampire. I mean, we're in 200 pages, and like she already knows. So, I mean, she hasn't gotten, and he's kind of basically confirmed it. I love the car ride scene. I love when they're in the car, and she's like finally telling him what she thinks he is, and he's kind of like not confirming but not denying, and she's just kind of watching him and being like, oh yeah, I think I'm right. And also, like, if they really wanted to protect their vampire secret, Edward would have tried a little bit harder. I think he really just wanted her to know, so she would know what she was getting into. Let's see, right now it's the day after that they did the car ride, after she had helped the girls go dress shopping, and he drove her back, and she's back at school and going to be interrogated by Jessica, who I remember distinctly not liking. I think because she was like every other girl I knew in high school that used to like really drive me nuts. I think now she doesn't nearly bother me as much. Because she's just a typical, just trying to live her life, Bethany. Why do you have to be such a bitch about it? It's kind of boring. I'm a little bit bored. Like, I just kind of want to read something else. I want to read something new. But I'm halfway through, and I also forgot this book was like almost 500 pages, which is nonsense. So I'm almost halfway through. I'm 200. I'm really looking forward to the baseball scene and the meadow scene. That's one of my favorite scenes too. So yeah, I'm just kind of bored a little bit, just because I just want to read something new. I'm not really in the mood to reread this, but I'm trying to plug along and go through with it, and work my way through it. So we will get there. We'll make it happen. And I'm back. Hi. This is just the most boring vlog ever. I'm sorry. I read more of Twilight. I'm about over halfway through. I'm at 286. And I just finished the meadow scene. And I just had thoughts. I just had lots of thoughts reading the last like 80 or some pages that I've read. So, first of all, this part of the book really dragged for me. One of my favorite scenes is the scene in the car where he picks her up in Port Angeles after she almost gets attacked. I totally forgot how like many times her life was in danger. She just kept kind of walking into trouble. I sort of like the conversation in the car. I do. I think it's the first time he really explains to her how much he actually cares about her in that scene too. And then it just kind of got boring, because then it's like they go back to school, he starts picking her up, they have conversations, and it just kind of drags for me, that scene. Yeah, so the next like 50 pages I was like super bored. I was kind of just like, okay, I'm feeling like this is dragging. I don't really care about her going to school every day. Thank God I only had gym my freshman year in high school. Like there was like so many thoughts I had of like the mundane everyday that she goes through, and talking about her doing her homework. Like, also, I'm just really glad I'm not in high school anymore. God. So then I was bored for like forever. So then finally we got to the meadow scene, which aptly was called Confessions. And the meadow scene was just kind of as beautiful as I remember it being. Like, he is actually forthright with her and honest with her, and actually seems to be genuinely himself. He finally explains like why he's having such a hard time being around her, because he thirsts after her blood, because her scent is so strong, it's so compelling for him. But also he cares about her, and he's intrigued by her and has feelings for her. I think he even admits to loving her, and the lion falls in love with the lamb, which I definitely know was a quote, was quoted in the movie. I just really love that scene so much. And then I feel like they've left this blind and meadow, and now I'm bored. Oh, and also, randomly enough, it says that he died of the Spanish influenza, so giving me pandemic vibes. Anyway, okay, so here's a couple things. First of all, I'm trying to read this to really see, so many people have commented on the fact that he's super controlling and grooms her, and it's an abusive relationship. Okay. I'm trying to see that, and I can see why people would see that and can have that takeaway, but I really don't see that being his motivation. And here's why. He died at like 17 or 18. And here's also another diatribe of why vampires being immortal suck, pun intended. Because he died when he was 17 or 18, right? And even though he's several decades old in his vampire years or whatever, he's still 17 or 18. Because the thing about vampires, even when they get old, is they're still idiots. Just because they get older in vampire years, I feel like their maturity never necessarily keeps maturing. I don't find him as like this old pervy vampire man coming after this young, innocent girl. Like, I don't see that. I think that he's in his like maturity still at the same 17 or 18. And I think he even says that he's never really felt for someone like this before in the meadow scene too. So I don't know. I do know like later in this books in the series he gets a lot more controlling. Like all of his motivations is trying to keep her safe, and he gets more controlling, which I feel like there's a lot of alpha male type characters that do that in other books anyway. So I don't think of him as being trying to manipulate her. I do think she's obsessed with him. I do think he's kind of obsessed with her, and they're both enmeshed in that. I don't think it's necessarily all him. that's just my reading of it. That's my perception of it. You can totally disagree, and please, if you do, let me know in the comments, or let me know, you know, why you think that, or what has led you to that conclusion. I'd be interested to know. I'm interested to know and hear your opinion, but that's kind of my takeaway, is that I just don't think he's, even though he has vampire years and decades older than her, I don't think of him as an older, pervy man trying to manipulate her. I don't know. I think Midnight Sun, from his perspective, would be interesting to see how he processes it all. I think Confessions is really helpful. That chapter is really helpful in getting a little bit more about like where his head is at. And then the rest of the book, which is just going to be probably, I don't know, I'm having a really hard time getting through this. I don't know if it's just because, and not because I'm not enjoying it, just because I feel like I'm just in the mood to do something else. And sometimes since I'm such a mood reader, it's just harder for me to get through. It's like, ugh, I don't want to, and it's long. It's longer than I want it to be. Anyway, I mean, I think that she's definitely obsessed with him, and she's a teenager, and he's obsessed with her, and he's a teenager, even though he's a dead vampire teenager. I mean, I just don't get the obsessiveness with it. You know, she describes him as that all the time. I'm kind of looking forward to getting to, like, meeting the rest of the family members, because I do remember liking Alice. I do remember liking Jasper, and and I'm remembering them. I'm kind of looking forward to that, and I'm really looking forward to the baseball scene, because that's one of my favorite scenes too. Otherwise, I'm just kind of bored. Also, I wanted to mention too, because I mentioned before I was really envisioning Robert Pattinson still, the movie, and a lot of the movie characters as I've been reading. And also, Billy Burke from the movie did such a good job as Charlie. I still am envisioning Billy Burke as Charlie too. Because there's just something I love about Charlie so much. He's just so clueless. And, but he also really cares about Bella, and it's very sweet. So, yeah, and Charlie's great. Those are my thoughts so far. That's how the reading's going. Like I said, it's been going really slow. Sorry, this vlog is boring. I mean, reading it, though, it still makes me just be like, I can't wait till Midnight Sun. So I really want to read, I think that one, I don't know if that'll be enjoyable. Maybe not. Maybe I'll have a difficult time reading it as much as I'm reading Twilight. But I think because Midnight Sun's from a new perspective, it'll be less torturous. I still like Bella. There's nothing wrong with Bella's perspective. She's just a teenager. And I don't think I dragged the first time. I think I read it like voraciously because I wanted to know what was going to happen. And since I already know what's going to happen, I think that's why maybe it's dragging for me. And this is why I don't reread books very often, like hardly ever. That's my thoughts so far. So there you have it. And for the record, just to clear the air, Vampires That Sparkle was always dumb. Always a dumb concept. It never changed. I always thought it was dumb. And in the meadow, it's still dumb. Just needed to add that because that was something that I forgot to mention. So right now, I'm reading the scene of Bella being in Phoenix. And first of all, I have to say, I didn't realize that part of the book is kind of long. Like, it's like a good, 50 pages or so. And I'm like, I don't remember any of this at all. And I think probably because the movie literally only has, 2 scenes of it. Yeah, Bella's an idiot. She's an idiot. She fell for the stupidest trick in the book. And wow, I don't remember her being this much of an idiot, which is probably why I forgot about all of this part. So yeah, so that's what I'm thinking right now. Just thinking that Bella's a big fat idiot and she fell for it. And also, I've also read so many more paranormals since Twilight. If the vampire's senses are that keen, Alice would have been able to hear James on the phone. She would have been able to hear James on the line instead of Bella's mom. I'm sorry. So there you have it. The vampires would have caught on. Bella's an idiot. And she didn't fool anybody. Yeah. This whole part's just silly. Just ridiculous. There you have it. That's my most recent thoughts. And I am going to be, hopefully, just finishing it tonight because I'm over it. I'm over Twilight. I'm over it. Hi, everyone. So here I am again, finally going to wrap up this vlog and final thoughts. You know, it's actually This reading vlog's taken me a whole month to do, and now it's August. Final thoughts. Let's see. Obviously, so interesting to reread after having lived like a decade. And, the world that we live in now is not the same as what Twilight was published in. That was in 2006, 2007, 2020. We're living in a very different world. I think, now we're aware of how she kind of utilized the Kulit people. Obviously, the problematic issue is how she dealt with the themes of the indigenous people. Obviously, I definitely saw a lot more Christian allegory in this reread than I think I did my first go around. I think there's pacing issues, big time. I mean, when I initially read the story, obviously it was the first time reading it, so I read through it very, very quickly. I remember reading through it very, very quickly. I remember reading through the whole series extremely quickly. But rereading it, man, it was slow. It dragged me. It didn't need to be 500 pages. I mean, this didn't need to be 500 pages. And Midnight Sun's 800. Why? Something else I noticed too, just maybe this is just awareness from being more involved in working with diverse people and being more around disability than I used to be. But it's interesting how Billy's portrayed. Billy is portrayed as in a wheelchair, but Jacob and Charlie have to get him up the stairs. Billy doesn't drive himself. Like, those are very, like, outdated opinions of disability, I feel like. Or maybe just someone who's not aware of disability. First of all, if Charlie is his best friend, Charlie's going to build Billy a ramp that he's not going to have to need someone to help him up the stairs, because that's just nonsense. And because it's Charlie, and Charlie would do that. And number two, Billy could absolutely drive with a car that is built specifically for accommodations for those who are in wheelchairs. So that is a really outdated or like just really abled way of thinking that I definitely wouldn't have caught on to when I was reading it the first time, but something I definitely noticed when I was reading it this time, going, oh, Billy's like being treated like an invalid when as a wheelchair user, he could actually have done all those things himself if he had just the right accommodations. Interesting. And here's the thing, I definitely think the first book's still my favorite. I definitely think the series gets more problematic, and I don't really want to reread the whole series. It was tough enough reading this book, and the rest of the series I feel like drags even worse. So I don't know if I'll ever get through it. But I will say, I still believe they're a love story. I know there's a lot of talk about, the abusive kind of content to it. But I don't know. I still believe the love story. What can I say? Are they super codependent on each other? Absolutely. Is it not necessarily the healthiest sometimes? Probably, but I think that goes with the whole, they're going to live together forever eventually. That being said, obviously also I think it's, Bella's a teenager. And again, I will say that, and I know I mentioned this earlier in this vlog, just because Edward's older in his vampire years does not mean he is more mature than her. I'm going to say that again. Just because he's older in vampire years and has lived longer does not mean his maturity has improved. And this is what I have found from most vampire romances, is they are all immature idiots. This has not changed. I will say that I really liked Bella, and this reminded me how much I liked Bella. And honestly, between Team Edward and Team Jacob, I was always a fan of Team Jacob because, as you know, vampires gross me out. And Jacob wasn't, he was great in the second book, and then he was kind of terrible to the rest of the series for reasons. But I'm Team Bella, because Bella always ultimately at the end of the day knows herself. Even though she makes stupid choices and gets involved with people who are not safe and not right for her and are super controlling, Bella always knows herself and still does what she thinks is right, even when it's really, really stupid. She, at the end of the day, she chooses herself and what she wants and goes for what she wants and thinks things through, even though it's convoluted in her teenage thinking, thinks things through and has a strong sense of self. And I have to appreciate that in a female character. I just have to. And I think that gets better with the books. The guys get terrible with the rest of the books. Absolutely. Edward and Jacob get super more controlling, and Bella gets extremely annoyed and frustrated with both of them. Rightfully so. But Bella stays herself. Even though she went to the stupid vampire who's gonna kill her, she went simply because she was trying to protect Edward. She was trying to protect her mom at the end of the day. And I think that a character like that is, yeah, kind of maybe martyrism. But again, I think it just shows that she has a strong sense of self. I've always really appreciated Bella, and rereading this has made me realize I'm on Team Bella. Forget Edward, forget Jacob, Team Bella. That's me. Yeah, so at the end of the day, I ended up changing my rating. I initially, back in 2008, I rated it 4 stars. I bumped it down to 3. It's between about 2.5 to 3 for me. The pacing issue, the silly ridiculousness. But also, I don't know. I still believe the romance. I still believe the love story, even though it's not perfect and even though it's flawed. And also for the representation and some of the issues with Stephanie Meyer, obviously makes it problematic too. So that's where I land on. So yeah, that's me. I got confirmation today that my Midnight Sun copy has shipped. So I am super excited about that. I don't think I'm going to be reading it for my August because I have planned my August TBR as madness, and I didn't know exactly when I was going to get Midnight Sun. And maybe, I don't know, if anyone, please let me know if you want me to do a vlog of Midnight Sun. I'd love to know if you would. And if you are interested in seeing me do that, let me know, and I'll definitely plan on doing that. I don't really plan on reading Vlog Guide yet, but if there's interest, I'll definitely do it. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more from me, please subscribe and hit bells and check out my social medias below and come hang out with me. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching. I will see you again soon. Bye.